welcome to HITC Sport. Right, let's take a look at each Premier League club and what individual footballer disrespected your club while they were there. By the way lads, Twitter and Instagram is there, so if you want to follow me on that'll be great. If you could drop subscribe, because I'm trying to get to 300k as quick as possible. I love you forever, but not too much because you're mostly a teenage audience and I'm not Stephen Tries. Arsenal Ashley Cole. Starting off this list with Ashley Cole, a man who nearly crashed his car after he was only offered 55 grand a week by Arsenal. Lad, I would swallow a bag of cat piss to even get a third of that sort of wage. Fair enough, he wanted to leave the club, but agreeing to meet Jose Mourinho and Peter Kenyon in a hotel room behind his employer's back is just rank. Then again, are we really shocked by the actions of a man who cheated on Cheryl and shot an intern in the goddamn leg? Aston Villa, JOLEON, LESCOTT. So it's February 2016. Aston Villa have just been ripped 6-0 apart at home, leaving them 8 points adrift at the bottom of the Premier League. Lescott, a man who had contributed to this woeful season by introducing a special brand of defending that honestly just resembled a paraplegic goat trying to f***ing dance, was no doubt getting slaughtered on Twitter. It's the fucking internet. I get dug out for wearing a scarf and sporting a hairstyle straight off the set of Orange Is the New Black. Like, it's not the end of the world, you live. And yet he chooses to obnoxiously tweet out a photo of his Mercedes, which is essentially him saying, "Oh, I don't care what you peasants think. I'm so rich I can have your entire house turned into my own Portaloo." This was the ultimate act of shithousery. And the fact he tried to pretend it was a pocket tweet, like, the only way that would hold up in a court of law is if it was discovered there was a third hand stuck to his leg, or if the jury was full of people who spend their days watching Love Island, because I can't imagine the IQ was very high. Bournemouth, ASMIR, BEGOVIC. It was hard to find one for Bournemouth, so I don't know, ASMIR, BEGOVIC? According to reports, he responded to being dropped on the bench last season by screaming in the face of Eddie Howe, which is a bit like shouting at a small cat. I mean, look at him. You just want to pinch his cheeks and give him a hard candy. Brighton, Dale Stephens. Yes, Dale Stephens might be the poster boy of Brighton nowadays, but it was only 3 years ago the man was handing in a transfer request on transfer deadline day. But I'm sorry, but if you wait until the last minute to submit a transfer request, when you had 3 months to do it, that's just being inconsiderate. Burnley, Kevin McDonald. All the way back to April 2010 for this one, to one of Burnley's darkest days in living memory. Coming up against Man City, the relegation-threatened Clarets found themselves 3-0 down after 7 minutes. 5-0 down at half-time. Not one Burnley player on the pitch could have any complaints if they were hauled off at half-time or had their contracts chucked in a bin. It was a pathetic, spineless display. So Kevin McDonald, having spent 45 minutes resembling that of a 3-legged donkey, responded to his halftime substitution by leaving the stadium and catching the second half down the pub. This was Kevin McDonald, a £500,000 signing from fucking Dundee. How he wasn't sacked on the spot, I have no idea. Chelsea, William Gallas. There's a way to leave a football club. This was not it. Chelsea had plucked William Gallas out of the French league, made him a 2-time Premier League champion, before the grown man tossed his toys out of the Prem and developed the attitude of a menstruating teenage girl.
Gallas issued own goal threat.
Yeah, Gallas, the grown man, reportedly threatened to score an own goal for Chelsea if they made him play against Man City in the opening game of the season. Okay, I get it, you were pissed off because the club gave your number 13 jersey to Michael Ballack, but actually threatening to put the ball in your own net on purpose is just a goddamn betrayal to not only your profession, but your dignity as a human being. He did end up being shipped off to Arsenal, played 9 more years and didn't win so much as a fucking raffle. He should have just stayed at Stamford Bridge. Crystal Palace, Wilfried Zaha. Am I the only one who thinks Wilfried Zaha needs to tell his brother to shut the up? Let me just read you a few quotes.
It's my brother's dream to play for Arsenal. Given all that Wilfried has given to Crystal Palace to help them remain a Premier League club, I hope Palace will be able to see their way to agreeing a deal with Arsenal that allows Wilfried to realise his dream of playing European football for the club he supported since childhood.
Sneaky. Sneaky is the word I would use to describe this. Too scared to come out publicly and say it himself, he'll just get his brother to do the dirty work for him. Like, are we just forgetting that this man signed a new improved 5-year deal at Sellers Park 11 months ago to become the highest paid player in Crystal Palace's history? Not for 2 years, not for 3 years, in 5! Essentially committing himself to being teammates with Scott Dan until the age of 30. Now, on one hand, a career of suicide, but lad, nobody forced you to sign that contract. Nobody was pointing a gun in your face and demanding you to sign up for a career of mid-table finishes, alright? That was your own choice and you were very happy to accept the money. So pipe down. Everton, Wayne Rooney. Now I could easily have chucked Wayne Rooney in for Manchester United as well. We all remember those petulant threats to leave. But no, instead let's take a look back. At the times, this man took the absolute piss out of a club he used to support. Once a blue, always a blue. Yeah, do you really think any true blue kisses the badge of another team at Goodison Park? That's essentially like breaking into your ex-wife's house and romancing your new girlfriend right on her couch. Clearly, that is not going to go down too well. Yes, alright, I'm sure you were getting dog's abuse all game. I'm sure they likened your head to a melted teapot and sang that you look like the love child of Ian Dowie and the f***ing Elephant Man. But lad, just rise above it. Leicester, Riyad Mahrez. To be fair to Riyad Mahrez, he did try doing this the proper way, penning a heartfelt farewell letter to Leicester fans in May 2017. And then nobody signed him. Bit awkward. All that meant that, you know, you'd have to start trying things the hard way. Downing tools and refusing to play for a club that plucked him out of the French second tier. Liverpool Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez has disrespected Liverpool so many times. But right, okay, May 2013. The Uruguayan, after collecting a 10-match ban for confusing a footballer with an actual sandwich, told the Uruguayan radio station that he was no longer going to put up with the English press and effectively issued a come and get me plea to Real Madrid. Right, okay, not ideal for Liverpool fans, but they could live with it. It's Real Madrid. What about this then? 2 months later, the man was forced to train alone after demanding the club let him leave for Arsenal, a team who hadn't won a title in nearly 10 years. Man City, Carlos Tevez. Is there a more hated man in Manchester than Carlos Tevez? A fella who spent 5 years in the city, earning a fortune and just showing no regard for his employers. His worst crime? Refusing to come off the bench with his side 2-0 down against Bayern Munich in September 2011. Just like Jack Colback's haircut, that was f***ing unforgivable. This was a man earning £400,000 a month, and he couldn't be bothered to drag his arse off the f***ing bench. There's people out there who tear off their left arm, swallow a basket of forks, watch 20 minutes of Love Island, anything as long as it meant they got on the pitch for a Champions League game, even for just 1 minute. And then there was this lad, treating it as a chore, as if he was asked to empty the dishwasher. And he doesn't even issue an apology, instead just choosing to spend 6 months playing golf at the back arse of Argentina, before arriving back just in time to pick up a richly undeserved league winner's medal. Man United Paul Scholes. Gabriel Hines was a worthy nomination for trying to force her a move to Liverpool, which is like trying to leave your wife for her goddamn sister. But no, I'll go for Paul Scholes. He is a terrific player and great servant for Manchester United, but he was also lucky not to have been given the sack. After being left out of a lineup against Liverpool in 2001, Scholes responded by refusing to play in a League Cup game against Arsenal. He ended up getting fined 2 weeks' wages, but lads, if he wasn't a world-class midfielder and instead possessed all the ability of a broken doorknob, he'd have been booted out the door, no doubt about that. Well, either that or he'd have been drowned in a toilet bowl, whichever Fergie was in the mood for. Newcastle, Craig Bellamy. There's been a few cases at Newcastle, like Dyer and Boyer fighting on the pitch, Yohan Cabaye refusing to play, or Titus Bramble continuing to exist. But no, instead I'm gonna go for Craig Bellamy, who just seemed to check off every misdemeanor on the list. Now I get working under Graham Souness, a man who doesn't know his art from his elbow. Must have been like hell on earth, but still. Bellamy did not cover himself in glory. Actually, he was a disgrace. It all started when he subbed off the pitch against Charlton in October 2004. He responded by swearing at Souness on live TV. Right, fair enough. I mean, he was lucky he wasn't chucked in a wood chipper, but still, hardly crime of the century. 3 months later, the manager asked him to play right wing against Arsenal. From Bellamy's reaction, you'd swear he'd asked him to sit on a pile of forks, staple pin tags to his face, or God forbid spend an evening in Sunderland. So he chose to feign injury, refusing to play for a club who'd given him title races, Champions League football, basically something other than relegation battles at the foot of the first division. But he wasn't finished there, oh no. He then went on live TV and accused Souness of lying, got punted off to Celtic on loan, and then most unforgivably of all, chose to send a series of text messages mocking Alan Shearer straight after an FA Cup semi-final to Man United, while he was still contracted to the goddamn club. Why not just take a dump on the club's crest while you're at it? Anyone who spends 5 minutes at Newcastle, let alone 5 years, knows how trophy-starved that fan base is. To actually take pleasure in their prolonged misery when you've just spent half a decade at the club getting paid very well, it's actually disgusting. Also, all of this just makes me think, how the hell did this happen? Norwich City, Wes Hoolahan. This one was just weird. I get why players don't celebrate against their former employers, but refusing to celebrate against your potential future ones? Like, what? With Aston Villa sniffing around Wes Hoolahan in January 2014, the Irishman saw a transfer request blocked, was forced to stick it out at Norwich, and then within 2 months had scored the opening goal at Villa Park, and then just stood there as if he'd witnessed someone run over his f***ing cat. Norwich fans were understandably not very happy. Southampton, Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk is a massive gambine. Well, that is the opinion of Southampton fans worldwide. Although to be honest, I can't imagine there's too many Saints fans scattered across the globe. Like if you walk into a pub in Bangladesh, you're not gonna find someone sitting there with Charlie Austin 9 on his back. But my point is, while Liverpool fans would no doubt grant Van Dijk permission to ping the missus, Saints fans still have not forgiven him for that horrendously unprofessional behaviour 2 years ago. Back in the summer 2017, he was ordered to train alone after refusing to play pre-season friendlies for Southampton to try and push through a move to Liverpool. I'm sorry, but if you're getting paid thousands of pounds a week, you do not go on strike. There's lads who work 13 hours at Burger King, having to deal with pissed up customers and a lingering stench of diabetes, only to make about as much as a footballer would in 1 minute. You don't see them downing tools and going on strike, so what excuse does Van Dijk have? Sheffield United. I don't know. Okay lads, I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I spent ages looking for someone who disrespected the Blades, but honestly, I couldn't really find one. Maybe all your players just love the club too damn much. Anyway, let me know if you can find one, because honestly, I I don't have a clue. Tottenham HOSSAMM GHALY. For such a terrible footballer, he seemingly had the biggest ego and air of entitlement. In May 2007, he turned the entire Spurs fan base against him when he reacted to being subbed off the pitch by tearing off his shirt and chucking it at the feet of his manager. Christ above. Watford, Marco Silva. Okay, I'm not gonna go for a player here. Instead, I'm gonna pick a manager who essentially spent the entire of his 6-month reign at Watford staring over the fence at Everton. I mean, flirting with another club when you've just signed a contract, it's not a good look. West Ham, Dimitri Payet. Again, same thing as Zaha, but worse. Dimitri Payet initially signed a 5-year contract with West Ham in June 2015. The man was so good that he was rewarded with a new and improved 5-year deal 6 months later. Within a year, he was gone. But not after he'd gone on strike, refusing to play for the club ever again. The man was 29 years old and was behaving like a goddamn toddler. Ridiculous. Wolves, Wayne Hennessey. You know, if you're only discovering the Nazis at the age of 32, you're not exactly the sharpest tool in the box. Anyway, 5 years ago, the man refused to play in goal for Wolves against Gillingham after initially being denied a move to the Premier League with Crystal Palace. I'm sorry, but again, refusing to pay for a club that's giving you thousands of pounds a week is pretty unforgivable, and in my eyes, makes you worse than Hitler. Although he wouldn't have a clue who that is. Anyway, that's the end of the video, lads. Let me know. I'm sure there's way more footballers that have disrespected your club. The likes of Yaya Toure come to mind, who's probably still whinging about that goddamn birthday cake. Let me know. As I said, Twitter and Instagram is there. Tell me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.